Hello everybody, and welcome to My Hero Academia, chapter number 348 review. This chapter is titled Unrequited. Now, last chapter, in number 347, we saw that Deku was transported to Toga's place instead of Shigaraki's, and we saw the reason that Deku could not get warped to Shigaraki's because Shigaraki has achieved a new evolution in the state of humanity, which is growing out a bunch of limbs out of himself. So yeah, and all of those are capable of decay, so Monoma can't stop watching him. But either way, we start off this chapter where the last one ended with Toga proclaiming, "Hey, Deku, I love you, you want to be my boyfriend?" But we don't start with that. We start with some text boxes in general, and they read, Izuku Midori was the ninth wielder of One For All, and the key to this particular battle. Since the advent of the Extraordinary, One For All had been the only power in Japan, no, in the entire world, that the shadowy mastermind All For One obsessed over. And now, this boy was the vessel for that very power. He had encountered Himiko Toga a number of times at this point, but since she had never come right out and expressed her affection in words, he never realized she felt that way about him. Because for all of his triumphs, he was still just a damned nerd. As we see Deku just going, "Did you say boyfriend? What are you talking about?" And Toga's just like, "I've loved you since the moment I first saw you. You were covered in blood, and you looked just like my first crush." And we see what looks like to be Toga's first crush, who it looked like was beating up somebody in the panel. It could be Deku for all I know. Who knows? But she continues to say, "You're so cool, Izuku. I want to be you. So let me suck some blood." As Deku's just like, "Boyfriend? A guy you want to take to amusement park for a date? Who you want to hold hands with and split a crepe?" And Toga says, "For me, turning into someone else is all about love. It's the only way I can feel satisfied." And she's like, "Tell me, hero, what do you want to do with me?" As we see an interesting visual over just a one-page spread with the panel sort of cut in half of just the waves blowing around Toga, since this is on the island of Okoto in the sea somewhere. So pretty much everybody's just like, "What?" And we see back to Uraraka, who's thinking, "What do you want to do to me?" Because that was something that she heard during the whole things there. But we see Deku just going, another attack's incoming, and Deku says, "I don't know. I always wanted to be strong like All Might, so I get how you feel, Toga. Like trying to be someone else can be fulfilling. But I can't imagine wanting to share the same heart and mind as him. And I would never want to hurt somebody I loved." And we see Toga give like a peaceful smile as Deku just starts to think. She can cloak her own presence. If I lose her in this chaotic battle, she'll be one step ahead. She doesn't trigger my danger sense, so in a way, this is the worst matchup I could ask for. And we then get a little bit into Toga's psyche, where she's just thinking of all the things that people said to her at points. Why can't you just be normal? Act like a normal girl. And we see back to Curious whenever she was holding Toga, just going, how sad. And then we cut to Uraraka back in the past saying, if you're going to live as you please, then you'll also have to live with the consequences. As we just see a panel of Toga's eyes just looking out onto the world. And she says, Zuku, you're just like Ochako and my mom and dad. You think that heroes and those they protect are the only ones who count as real people. So people like you and I are destined to remain apart. As we see Toga just go to attack Deku. And Uraraka's just like, not so fast, Himiko Toga. But Toga continues, ever since that day we met, I've been thinking hard about you. Oh, you haven't been on my mind? Not anymore. I thought maybe I'd have shot with Izuku, but nope, I'm all over that now. The world rejected me, so I reject the world. Ochako, it's really sad, really. I was sure you would understand me. After all, you and I both fell for the same. As we see Froppy come in and just shove Toga out of the way before she can stop what she's saying when she says, I fell for the same guy and all of that. But Deku's just like, Osui, Suyu, I mean, Froppy. And she's like, sorry it took me so long. And Deku's like to Uraraka, are you hurt? And she's like, nah, not a scratch. But we didn't see Froppy saying, she's the least predictable of our opponents. So we warped her to an isolated island that had a backup plan too. And we see that Toga's like, Suyu. And Froppy says, get going, Deku. Chatting about romance here is the last thing you need to be doing. We'll deal with Himiko Toga as planned. Gravity's gone up her more times than anyone, so she'll take the lead here, and we'll get the job done. As Uraraka turns around and says, Deku, get Shigaraki. Good luck. As Toga sort of looks up in a demented state and says, it's so hard to live being me, even though I'm full of all of this love. And Uraraka just says, go now. And Deku starts flying across the ocean pretty much, just running onto water, going towards the Shigaraki Dome. And that's the end of this chapter. Another 13-page chapter. So, Horikoshi, hope your health is doing all right in this final arc. And pretty much, this chapter was a very interesting one. The first page, I really find that hysterical, how it's just like, because for all of his triumphs, he was still just a damn nerd. And how Toga just is like, you want to be my boyfriend? I love you. And whenever Deku says no, she completely flips a switch saying, no. And we also see the faith that Uraraka and Froppy have in Deku to get back to Shigaraki, and that they'll be the ones to take down Toga. And I don't really have much else to say for this chapter. It was a very interesting chapter to see Deku and Uraraka sort of interact again after we didn't have that for the whole war, and then we had the one moment before this next war started. But all in all, it was an alright chapter. It's really setting up for, is Deku going to be running onto water to Shigaraki next? Who knows? Are we going to stay on this Toga fight? Who knows? That's really all I've got for this chapter number 348. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Glowplasma231 out.